everybody, this is Julian from the Draft Lives here, and today I'm going to do a little retrospective video on the Detroit Lions. Obviously, the Detroit Lions went 15-2 last year. They were a very fantastic team on offense, and defense was kind of holding up until they were ravaged with injuries, playing third and fourth stringers. So I just want to dive deep into what happened with them. Is it on the offense? Is it on the defense? Is it the coaching? Is it Jared Goff? And we will start with the Minnesota Vikings game from Christmas Day games. They had 6 turnovers on offense, and they lost to a QB with 51 passing yards. So I just want to go in and see what happened in this game. And in my opinion, this game was a microcosm of what's been happening the entire season. So we're going to go straight into it right here. The first play, the first turnover for the Detroit Lions. So you can see right here, Jared Goff walks up to the line. It's going to be a quick snap, probably a QB sneak, maybe a handoff. I'm pretty sure it's a QB sneak the way they just surge the line, but the double team on this D tackle here, it makes me think it could have been a run play, but the ball's just snapped too quickly. I mean, it's a newer center. This isn't their normal center, and look at that. The second he feels like a breeze behind him, he snaps the ball, and there's turnover number 1. I'll say Andrew Van Ginkel had a great game, recovering a few fumbles. So that's that's something you could do on new center. He's not acclimated to what they're about to do. We'll give him a pass. Next play. Now, next play, this is going to be on the defense. I don't want to say, the defense played actually decent this game. It's not a bad play, but just look how easily they get moved on the fourth down here. Easy touchdown, poor tackling. That's, like I said, it's been happening all year. Got Malcolm Rodriguez, who people were excited about right here. He's going to scrape, make the play, but he's going to get shedded by Aaron Jones, and that's just not supposed to happen. Aaron Jones had a great game. A little bit of a career revival there, but again, defense couldn't make the stop. But obviously you blame that fully on the offense for turning it over on your own 20-yard line. Next play, back to the offense here. There's gonna be another turnover, and when it's your best player that's coughing up the football, I mean, there's really not, like, that's just when stuff's really going bad for you. I do want to point out what a tough day for the center. This is a second-year undrafted rookie out of Florida. Go Gators. Kingsley Eguakun. I mean, he was just outmatched all game. I mean, the entire offensive line was. But getting pushed back easily, his feet, I mean, the problem in college, he was undersized and he had bad feet. So on the ensuing drive, after a touchback on the punt, the Lions have the ball on the 20. They're going to come out with a play action. First thing we'll notice is right here at the top where the left tackle is, he's just going to get ran around Dan Skipper, but a good block. But then Andrew Van Ginkel's bearing down on him. So we're going to look back at that. Hey, is this on Jared Goff? Are there any receivers open downfield? So you see they're running 2 main routes with 2 flat control routes right here. Check and release. That's a bad check. You have to block that player. No one's open. I mean, you could really throw the hook, but with Goff off balance, his feet aren't set. That's just asking for a floater ball. If he throws that in the middle of the field, that's easily picked off by a roaming safety. And yeah, he takes the sack. People would want to blame Goff, or maybe Goff is, he's not mobile enough. Sure, but it really takes a special type of athlete to escape this hellhole that he was in. Look at this. Absolutely nothing. No effort from the tight end. Big mistake from him. You got a 250-pound Van Ginkel bearing down on you. What do you want Goff to do? That is just a botched play. That is on coaching, and that is on the offensive line. Yes, the offensive line and the tight end that was supposed to chip in there. Now, while I was talking, you might have seen that in the background. The next play. Now, this is a bad play by Goff. It's going to be a clean enough pocket, and he kind of throws a predetermined pass. Yeah, it could be your first read, but this is a triple coverage, little Texas route to your running back. You got to see what you got downfield. Let it develop. Jamison Williams is a burner. He could have easily beat the seam right here. Look at this. Let's just watch this play again. All right. Good release. Gets touched by the linebacker. I don't think Byron Murphy is going to be able to catch him. Look at that angle he's going to be taking. If Goff sits in the pocket one more second, he's going to have an easy touchdown, or at least a big play, to the burning fast Jamison Williams. So yeah, previous play not on Goff. That play definitely on Goff. Why are you panicking in the pocket? I get it. A lot of pressure in your face early on, but clean enough pocket. Bad throw. Trying to get Gibbs killed, by the way. Now, this video is not just all bad things about the Lions offense. This is what they can do when the offensive line plays well and when Goff is on his game. Look at that. Even with the pressure finally coming in after a very good pocket, he hits St. Brown over the middle of the field to get the first down. This is like a 3rd and 20. Look at that. Patient over the middle. That's not St. Brown, by the way. That is Isaac Tesla, who, I mean, yeah, that definitely does not look like St. Brown. My bad. I'll probably show a few more plays of the zero blitz coming in. Brian Flores called a great game. He knew the weaknesses of the Detroit Lions offense, and, well, he took advantage of it. Here we'll see kind of a full blitz. No one drops out. Zero blitz. Harrison Smith, at 36 years old, still making great plays. And that's going to put them at third down, which is a tough position, third and long. Now, this is really the crusher here. This has been a great drive. They've converted multiple third and longs. Uh, and right here, they don't convert. This is an open play. This is a bad throw. Let me see this again. Obviously, Goff is not the most fleet of foot, but he's a veteran quarterback. He should know to set his feet, but he's like limping on this one. He's floating backwards. His feet aren't set, and he's going to miss the throw. It's a tough throw, but he has one foot pointed all the way to this sideline up here, and his other foot pointed to the end zone in the middle of the field. I mean, listen, great QBs can make great throws. Goff is a solid QB, but this is just horrible footwork, and you see he's going to stumble a bit. Throw is missed. Now you're in a really tough spot. They scored a touchdown on that drive. It was one of their best drives. I wasn't wrong. That was still a bad throw. Point still stands for the entire season as to what's going on with Jared Goff. Moving on. Now there's going to be another miscue play from the offensive line. They're going to go for another QB sneak here. And there's false starts all over the offensive line. I don't remember who they call it on. I think it's on the center. Oh, no, it's on this guy. There you go. I mean, what are you doing? You're looking directly at the center. I think the center was called for a false start on one of these plays. I mean, this guy would like you're looking directly. How are you doing that, man? That is textbook football. And listen, everyone makes mistakes, but it's such an inopportune time, and it didn't cost you the game directly. But obviously now you have to punt, as you see, punting the football. Now this is going to be another turnover, one of the last two that I'll show you. And this was a problem all game. The Lions did not check to any protection. And look at that. There you go. Interception. Bad play from Jared Goff. But I mean, again, whoever's responsible on the offensive line for picking up these blitzes has done a horrible job. That's between the coaching, preparing for Brian Flores' defense, Jared Goff, who has historically struggled against Brian Flores, blocking 5 big men. And let's see how many come. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 on 6. Very possible that some will get through, but the problem was the full edge that Harrison Smith is playing on this role and the other edge are not really accounted for. The offensive line is sliding down to those, and then this play is really important. As we'll see, let's look at it one more time. A little bluff blitz from Harrison Smith here. You know he won't get to the QB, so he'll drop back into zone. There you go. Drops back. One thing that will happen later in the game is the tackles will now not be mindful of them enough and start hitting the inside. They'll start taking the inside backers. So Penei Sewell would take Van Ginkel and not be mindful of Harrison Smith. It'll happen later on a few more times in this game, and it'll lead to more turnovers. When we talk about the microcosm of the Lions, the offensive line coaching and the offensive coaching in general has been a big step down from last year. I'll get into a little bit later what is the main reason for the Lions' 8-8 record and missing the playoffs this year. But for the offense, it has been the offensive line play, offensive line coaching, and the adjustment for Ben Johnson hasn't been what they expected. I mean, Dan Campbell isn't what Ben Johnson is as a play caller, and neither is John Morton. Wasn't anything close to Ben Johnson at the beginning of the year, but they didn't really give him an adjustment period either. So when it comes down to it, on the offensive side, offensive line and offensive coaching. Now this is the dagger here. It's going to be an end around for a touchdown. Split safety look. The biggest mistake here is this guy just comes directly down, and there's no sort of push. And look at that. They're tripping over each other. And yeah, Jordan Addison super fast. It would be tough to catch him. I mean, good effort, just not good enough from number 2 there. Yeah, the defense has been horrible, and that is the number one reason that the Lions are 8-8 and have taken a step down. I'm going to read out some stats here in a quick second. Again, everyone shares the blame. It's football. It is a team sport. I'm going to just highlight another. This is Amon-Ra St. Brown drop. I mean, good concept. This is a good offensive play call against the coverage. Good anticipatory throw in crunch time from Goff. Offensive line did a good enough job. It's just dropped by St. Brown. And I mean, again, we saw the Gibbs fumble. Goff had a bad game. Sewell didn't have a great game. So everyone shares the blame. Next play is the actual dagger on offense. Another botched exchange between the center and QB. This is what happens when you are down to an undrafted second-year player that was never really great in college. Didn't really get any looks. I think Kingsley Echokan was with the Eagles last offseason. But he's trying to move left for some sort of pin and pull run or pass play, and ball is snapped over Jared Goff. He wasn't ready for it. A big example of just not practicing enough with the center. They weren't playing Graham Glasgow this game, and I mean, you could tell that it's a new center and just not a very good one. So, what really happened with the Lions this year? Well, a few things. Number one, I will say it is not fully on Jared Goff, but I do think they should be looking into moving on from him. He's not the athletic QB that this offense kind of requires sometimes. As you see, what Caleb Williams is doing a lot of good things with Ben Johnson in year one, and Goff has done these good things, but it kind of limited Ben Johnson because Goff is not an athlete. And if your offensive line is not good, you kind of need someone to be able to run around. Goff is in the bottom tier when it comes to athleticism and moving in the pocket down there with Philip Rivers and Tua Tagovailoa. I mean, I can't blame him for that. He has the skill set that he has, but I think the Lions should start looking, just inquiring, whether it's through the draft or something, to finding another QB for the future. The second reason that the Lions had a failed year and a very different year was the loss of coaches. I mean, this was a big turnover period. They lost their big two, the offensive coordinator, the defensive coordinator, and the coaching that replaced them on offense was on defense. Kelvin Shepard has been very good for a first-year coordinator, and I think he's there to stick around. But again, the adjustment period with bad players is never something fun. He doesn't have a star-studded defense. A lot of injuries year in and year out. Hutchinson is still a stud, but that's really it. Joseph has been hurt most of the year. Terrion Arnold, though he wasn't great, he's also been hurt, which is he's leading into bust territory. So it's been a very tough adjustment period. And I'll say the third reason is just a downtick in play, which does come from like not scheme change, but coaching change. Amik Robertson had a very solid year last year, allowing around 450 passing yards when you combine, like when you look at PFF, SIS, or Next Gen Stats, whatever you would like to look at, it all evens out to around 450 yards and 2 touchdowns allowed from Amik Robertson. This year, Amik Robertson allowed 620 yards and 7 touchdowns. That is a lot more touchdowns, first of all, and a lot more yards on only 12% more targets. Big target share. Combine that with a uptick in 60% completion rate allowed by Amik Robertson, who you were kind of relying on to be your cornerback one, is just detrimental for the entire team. And part of that is also the interior defensive line pressure. I mean, we'll use Elim McNeil for an example. Young player, good player, earned himself a second contract, and just had a bad year. He was banged up and had half the pressures he did last year. And yeah, granted, he played in 3 less games, but it wasn't, there was no defensive line pressure up front. You had Aiden Hutchinson on the edge, and that's it. You're relying on your corners who were injured, who were playing bad, to make good coverage plays, because all you could really get was coverage sacks. You chip the defensive end that is most threatening to you, and there's no interior pressure. Linebackers weren't great in coverage either. I mean, it was just a whole mess. People want to look at one player to blame. It's not. The Lions are not in the worst position in the league. There's plenty of teams that would like envy to be in the Lions position right now. They made the playoffs last year. They were a good team. And yeah, they didn't win the Super Bowl. Whatever. It's a few years in a row that they kind of get like upset in the playoffs. It's fine. They have good building blocks. The biggest concern for me is Dan Campbell. He's a great head coach. He built this team. He turned it around. I'm not sure if he can continue to sustain that success, especially without top tier coaching talent around him, because he's not some elite play caller like a Sean McVay or a Ben Johnson. And speaking of adjustment period, I mean, it's not over. There's going to be plenty of free agents coming in and out with this like new coaching staff. Injuries will continue to be there. Taylor Decker's getting older, so the left tackle's always a question mark. The interior O-line is bad. Receiving group is good. Running back core is good, but David Montgomery now he's like liking comments about requesting a trade, and I'm sure he won't be on the team next year. So yeah, there's going to be a big adjustment period on offense. Like we said, they might look into changing or having a future asset for QB, with Goff being like kind of an average QB and a question mark. And then on defense, they really have to overhaul it. But how can you really do that if you have not much money, not too many draft picks, and just not great talent already? To upgrade is not going to be hard, but doesn't mean you're going to get good players when it's an upgrade. So the future outlook, I mean, I'm not going to give a record prediction for next year, but I think it's going to be at least another year of middling play. So what has to change? Obviously, the personnel has to change, and I really need to see a lot of different players playing for the Detroit Lions next year for them to be a better team. Again, that doesn't include Goff. Goff had a very similar year statistically. I think he had a worse year overall when it comes to facing pressure. And like we said, his footwork is kind of all over the place under pressure, and it really showed this year. But again, the defense lost them some games, and the play calling was not great. They definitely miss Ben Johnson. They miss Aaron Glenn, but we'll see. I'm rooting for the Lions next year. Hopefully they can turn it around and have another historical year going 15-2 maybe next year. All right, that's it for me. Let me know if you want any player breakdowns or team breakdowns. I'm going to do a few retrospectives like I do with the lines right here. So let me know if you have a favorite team or anything like that. And I'll catch you on the next one. Bye bye.